This conference will now be recorded.
Hey everyone, good morning and good evening. So guys, my name is Rohit Singh. I'll be your instructor for this course. Let me quickly share my screen and let me share the agenda for today. Okay guys, so let me know if my screen is visible and my voice is audible to you guys. A quick yes no in the chat. Is my screen and voice visible and audible?
But it
Perfect.
is.
Thank you. Okay,
Can you please
so
write the screen?
sorry, Lakshmi, you're
Uh,
saying something?
the no, its window is very minimal actually. Could you please increase your window, the screen
Uh,
window?
No, so the problem is there is an option at the bottom when you're using GoToMeeting. Are you using an app or using a browser?
Browser.
Yeah, that's the problem. So when you use a GoToMeeting
Ah,
app, you can minimize everything because it's a pretty 15-inch, 21-inch screen which I'm using right now. So it's a pretty big screen.
okay,
So
okay, okay. Now,
yeah, good one, Lakshmi. So this is for everyone, guys. Okay, preference use GoToMeeting app. When you use an app, you get a full screen view. So whatever I'm sharing right now, so I'll just minimize this for now. Okay, so you get a full screen view. Okay, now today is okay because today is just a demo. I will just take you through the course, what exactly this course is all about, how we will be starting going forward when we start the next, like I'll be starting the course from Tuesday. Okay, so make sure you everyone has a GoToMeeting app installed, and when you install that, it will be very easy for you to maximize the screen size. Okay, so let me share the agenda for today, and I'll give you sufficient time at the end of this call so that whatever doubts, queries you have, we can discuss that over. Okay, so this course is not just a DevOps course. Okay, this is an advanced Azure DevSecOps course, and this will be my ninth batch. So this is not a new course what we are doing right now. It's a pretty old course, and it's a ninth batch what we have right now. We have already successfully completed advanced AD08. Now this will be the ninth which I am conducting with Valaxy. Now what this course, let's talk about what exactly we'll see. So we'll talk about myself, who exactly I am I capable enough to train you guys or not. We'll understand that. We'll talk about the course highlights. We'll talk about the focus point in this so it's a pretty long course, guys. We say it's a 2 months, 2 months down the line. It will take 2 months to complete this course, but let me tell you, it takes more than 2 months at the end of the day because I don't rush things. Okay, based on your understanding, based on the feedbacks which I take from students, we go back and forth and cover topics. That is what my strategy is always. We'll understand the course journey, and at the end, I'll share the course content. Okay. Now, before I talk about the course highlight, let me talk about myself. I have 12 plus years of experience now. I have 13 years now. It's been 13 years now. You can check my LinkedIn, and I've worked with various multinational to name few: JP Morgan, HP, Bark, etc. I am currently working as a DevOps lead, managing the solution architect portfolio for my company. So I am itself into DevOps, so I can give you my experience. So that is the plus point. When I talk about any topics, I talk about from the experience perspective because I am into DevOps since very long now. Okay, I have trained many students offline, online. I do have a YouTube channel. Okay, I have completed various certification. Some of them are mentioned over here, like DevOps Master, I'm AZ400, and I Red Hat certified, etc. You can find my LinkedIn page, you can find my website and everything in this PPT, which will be shared with you guys. All those information is there right over here. Myself, Rohit Kumar Singh, okay, and I'll be taking you through this Azure DevOps course. Now, the course highlight is, as mentioned over here, the course duration is 65 plus days. So now when we say 65, you can understand it's a pretty big course. I'll be conducting 1 hour 15 minutes daily, Tuesday to Friday, 7 a.m. Indian Standard Time, and we'll try to complete it by 8:15 a.m. Indian Standard Time. The complete course will be recorded. Whatever you see on my screen, all the projects, all the source code, all the PPTs, all the Word document, whatever you see on my screen, which I'm using to teach, it will be shared and it will be uploaded onto Valaxy portal. The access will be given to you and you will be able to access those recordings as per your convenience. There is a possibility, because we started going office now, there is a possibility it will not be possible for many of you guys to attend live session one or two. So things will be recorded and it will be kept preserved for you guys. Anytime you can go back and watch the recording, and if there's any doubt, any questions, any query, you guys can come back. We can have a query sessions too. Okay, it's not that if you're watching the recording you cannot come back to me. Okay, it is quite possible. You guys can come back and we can discuss it over. I do conduct query sessions also, dedicated query sessions on which we just talk about what is the issues, what are the impediments. If you guys are stuck somewhere, that is what we discuss. Followed by we have week, and one important, it's a practical course, guys. I don't talk much about theories. The purpose of this course is to get yourself into DevOps. If you guys are new into IT and you know nothing about DevOps, this is the course for you. If you got an experienced person into some other domain and you want to switch into DevOps, this is the course for you. If you are already into DevOps and I want to gain more advanced knowledge into DevOps, this is the course for you. Why? Because the course is designed in such a way in which I cover 85 to 90% of practicals. So no, it's not I'm saying no theory. We have theory, but it's very minimal. The focus is practical. So whatever tools I talk about, whether it is Kubernetes, Azure DevOps, CI/CD pipeline, integration of any static code analysis tool, vulnerability scanning, all that will be done practically. I'll be doing it in front of you, and my expectation is you go back and do it by yourself. Till the time you don't follow the flow, if you don't do it thoroughly by yourself, you will not have that much of understanding. So many students, they come to me because they are already working into DevOps and they are facing difficult time. And now after this course, they go back and start implementing whatever we do in the projects. So that is what the course is all about. 85% practical and 15% theory. Weekly assessment and solution feedback. So we do after each week, like suppose if I'm covering repository management in this week, on Friday you will be getting a weekly assessment. So during your day off, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whenever you get time, you can go and complete those assessments. And if you get stuck with the assessments, which you will not, because if you're following my videos, if you're following me, you'll not get stuck. But even though if you get stuck and if there's any doubt, then I'm there. We can go back and we can do the weekly assessment over the call. We do conduct mock interviews. I have a dedicated mock interview sessions at the end of the course, but that doesn't mean that we'll have to wait for the mock interview at the end. Doing the When I'm covering any topics at that point of time, whenever the in some uh, topic which is very important, I do say you might get questions. If you're giving interview, you might get questions from this topic, and how the questions will be asked, what will the way they can ask, so that also I'll say. So you have to keep that in mind. Like for example, like if there's a question on Git, they will not straightforward. They will not ask what is Git or what is repository management. Those days are gone. The questions be like this. Suppose I have 100 of commits in my develop branch. Out of those 100 commits, I want couple of commits to be pushed into my release branch. How do we do that? Such questions. Okay. So the answer is okay. I think many of you guys might know it's Git cherry picking. That is how we can do that. So such questions, whenever we I come to those topics where the questions could be important, I will definitely tell that. But we do have dedicated mock interviews. It's completely practical question. The way I given one of the questions to you is completely practical, and I will give you solutions as well. The questions will be completely based on DevOps. Azure DevOps, Terraform, Kubernetes, Azure Kubernetes Services, Docker, Ansible, and things like that. Okay. Based on the course, whatever course curriculum we have, I do have resume templates created. Now, be it whatever experience you have, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, you can easily go and put 4 to 5 years of experience after this course, but you have to practice. So there are 5 projects in total in this course. I got .NET, I got Java, Spring Boot, I got microservice application in which we have front end of Spring Boot, back end of Node.js. I got SQL database automation, and at the end I do have cell scripting added in this course. You see, I'll be spending 2 months of my time with you guys. You have to replicate the same by practicing daily. At least give 45 minutes of your time daily practice. If you do, let me tell you, after 2.5 months down the line, you will be very much confident enough to go and give any sort of interview. I'm not expecting more, but out of 5, you can at least crack one. I'm not expecting, like, if you're completely new to DevOps and if you're doing this for the first time, go and give 5 to 10 interviews. I can guarantee at least 1 or 2 you will definitely crack, because you're new. If you're already into DevOps and if you're gaining some advanced knowledge, then out of 5, 2 to 3 easily you can crack. Okay. Career guidance and assistance. If anyone wants to talk to me directly, if there's any confusion, you can reach out to Valaxy. They can coordinate with me, and one-to-one interaction. So this is the course highlight, guys. This is what we do usually. Okay. Talking about the course will start from 2nd of July. The timings are 7 a.m. to 8:15 a.m. Indian Standard, Tuesday till Friday, 4 days a week. We will have a WhatsApp group created. So if there's any confusion, any doubt, you can, and I'll be part of that group. You can reach out to me directly. Okay. Demo. We are doing the demo right now. Okay. Focal point. Now, guys, there could be some difference in the time zone we are in. Okay. So I am into CST time zone. So if you put in any message for me, wait for my reply, because I might be sleeping at that point of time. Okay, but don't worry, I'll definitely reply back as soon as I get time. Okay. So about this course, now we have already spoken about much about this course. Now I'm talking about DevOps. Now DevOps is a very big domain, guys. Okay, DevOps, unlike a developer role, like if I'm a .NET developer, I need to focus on .NET language. If I learn that, I'm well and good. DevOps is a big domain. When you're talking about DevOps, you need to have many understanding. You need to understand the operating system. You need to understand the cloud services. You need to understand the repository management. You need to have bit of understanding of programming. Okay, such as shell scripting, PowerShell scripting, and things like that. Uh, One more question I get very frequently: do we require uh, coding understanding before you take this course? The answer is no. That doesn't mean I will not do any programming in this course. We do have programming. I'll be writing playbook, sensible playbook, which is in a YAML based. We'll be writing PAC, pipeline as a code. So all our build and release pipeline will be created in YAML. We will write Terraform, that's based on HashiCorp language. We do have shell scripting in this. Okay, so we'll understand shell scripting also. So this all will require a coding skills. Now all this I'll be doing from scratch. Okay, if anyone who doesn't have any coding background, so you don't need to worry. Okay, I'll be doing everything from scratch. And anyone who has some coding background, who has some coding understanding, this is very well and good for you, because it will be very easy for you to cope up. Okay, so that is something I wanted to answer. So in this course, whatever things you see right now, whatever domains you see, configuration management, containerization, orchestration, monitoring, we are covering each and every domain of DevOps. DevOps is not just CI/CD, guys. Okay, it is, you need to have a better understanding how a microservice application gets built, get tested, get scanned, all the security vulnerabilities get removed, how artifact gets created, then how that particular application will be deployed onto a container, how that container will be created, and things like that, so and so forth. So we are covering all the aspect of DevOps, all the domain of DevOps. So when I say we are covering everything, that doesn't mean I'm covering all the tools. All the tools which is required, like if I talk about CI/CD, we are covering Azure. If you talk about cloud services, we have many services on Azure cloud. If you talk about repository management, we got Git in it. If you're talking about programming, we got shell script. If you're talking about IAC, infra as a code, we have Terraform. If you talk containerization, we have Docker. If you have orchestration, we have Kubernetes. Monitoring, there are 4 different monitoring tools we are covering, to name few: Prometheus, Grafana, Kiali, Jaeger, Metric Server. These are the monitoring tools we are covering. Configuration management, we are covering Ansible. So point is, these are the tools we'll focus on. Okay. Now the reason we are focusing on all this tool, because if you have better understanding of these tool once, you can go and learn the related tools easily by yourself. If you have your base clear, if everything is clear, you can go and learn other tools which is required in your project. Now this will make you that you have a better and not just understanding of DevOps, you have a better understanding of DevOps. Now that was all about DevOps. We have added some more flavor to my course by adding security topics to it. It was not part of my, like if you go back 3 to 4 batch back, it was not part of it. But even for my practice, I keep on giving interviews. I give DevOps interviews just to see what's going on in the market. And even I conduct many interviews. I have seen very frequently this DevOps domain is changing, and now it is focused more on DevSecOps. When we say DevSecOps, the security becomes a very essential part of your entire CI/CD. Now, so we have multiple security topics added to your DevOps course. Now, such as repository management, like a developer can push anything, even he might end up pushing some critical sensitive information such as access keys, passwords into a public domain repository. Okay, such things has happened in real time. So how do you stop it? You should have some sort of gatekeeper so that such sensitive information does not flow out of developer's laptop. So what security measures you will take? What are the integration you will do? When you're talking about your build pipeline, you talk about unit test, we talk about code coverage, we talk about static code analysis, we talk about vulnerability scanning and all this. Okay, so these are all the security major tools we have integrated with a course. So it's not just DevOps course now, it is DevSecOps. Okay, so there are many tools which we have added. To name few, we have added SonarQube, we have added Mantbolt for vulnerability scanning, we have added Jacoco, we have added unit test cases, we have added Talisman, we have added Istio service mesh and things like that. Okay, so that's the focus of my course, overall course. Now this is how the course journey will look like, starting with a basic of Linux. Okay, we'll not deep dive into Linux, but there are so many DevOps tools which is Linux centric tools. So you need to have basic understanding how to work with that black screen. Okay, so we'll have understand basic of Linux, basic commands, how to edit a file, how to move a file, how to create a directory, how to uh, read a file, and things like that. Okay, because Linux itself is a big course, so we are focused on DevOps. But after those basic commands, you can easily go and log into Linux server, and if you want to set up and install any software or services, you can do it by yourself, no problem. Then we have Azure cloud. There are many topics in Azure cloud. So Azure cloud, we are talking about virtual machine creation, storage account, Azure Kubernetes service, Azure key vaults, and ACR container registry and things like that. Which is, so why exactly Azure cloud? So whatever application we are talking about, the application which we build, the artifacts what we create, eventually those will be deployed onto Azure. Okay, and when we work with Terraform, all the resources we create using Terraform will be created on Azure Cloud. So yes, we do require Azure Cloud subscription. It will be a free tier one, guys. Don't worry, whatever service I launch on Azure Cloud, it will not be uh, a hefty services. It will be a free tier. It falls under free tier. And as soon as we are done with the project, as soon as we are done with the learning, we'll be deleting those resources. So at the end of the day, you'll not get charged much, but hardly 100 to 200 Indian rupees. If we talk in dollars, it will be $2 to $3. Okay. The condition is you have to follow the way I do, the way I create a resource. And once I'm done with my topic, how do I delete the resource? I'll be covering all those information for you. Just make sure you follow what I say. Okay. Azure DevOps in depth. We are covering Azure DevOps in depth, talking about Azure artifacts, Azure repos, work item management, pipelines, test management, etc. Then we are spending a lot of time in Git. I'll be spending around 1 week of time understanding Git. Now, many of you will say, why are we spending time understanding Git? Repository management is the most important for DevOps if you are looking for a DevOps engineer role. So Git is very important topic, guys. Then we got YAML scripting, we got Terraform, Kubernetes, Ansible, Docker, Maven. Okay, I forgot Maven, and the Vault services. Okay. Monitoring, as I said, initially we'll start with Prometheus Grafana. Security topics, as I said, Talisman, SonarQube, Code Coverage, Helm, Istio. There are many more which is not there in this slide. Okay. Live project, ASP.NET, Java Maven automation, SQL database, and the two-tier application which I spoke about. And mock interviews, resume prep, other monitoring tools such as Kiali and Metric Server will also be covered. Okay, so this is the course journey, and this is how we'll take this further. Now, if you want in details about this, what this course is all about, this is my course curriculum, which will be shared with everyone. Okay, it has everything. What are we covering? Starting with all the DevOps methodology, DevOps, Azure work item, repository. The focus area should be the project. So let me take you down. These are all the projects which we'll do, real-time projects, starting with .NET, Java, integration of code coverage, static code analysis, setting up pipeline status, sending on Slack, end-to-end database automation. Then we have Docker, Kubernetes, AKS, Terraform, Ansible, Ansible Vault integration with Ansible, Istio service mesh, Helm chart, and in cell scripting, we have a project in which we'll be setting end-to-end a Kubernetes cluster using a cell script. Okay, so this is a pretty big course curriculum what I have right now, which will be shared with you guys. Starting from Monday, will not Monday, guys. Tuesday India time, we'll start with the first title, Introduction to DevOps. This is what we'll start with. And I follow the same sequence, whatever the course curriculum is all about. But depending upon how you guys are taking up things, I might switch here and there. But uh, on a whole, I follow the sequence which is mentioned in my course curriculum. Okay, so that's it from me for today, guys. I'll not take much of your time and cell scripting. Now I am ready to take questions. I don't have multiple slides today, so I'll stick with. If anyone has any question, doubt, I know many of you will have it. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, hi Rohit, this is Vipul here.
Hey, Vipul.
Uh,
Yeah.
Rohit, like I don't have much background on the DevOps side, but I have a good understanding on the security aspect. Not the
Mhm.
tools which you just discussed, but I need to scale to DevSecOps. So may I know what are the, like as you said, like no programming and other things, but as I'm coming from security side, do we have any prerequisite here, or it's good to go with the flow which you cover?
Okay, so yeah, Vipul, very good question. No prerequisite as such is required. Okay, because if you go through my course curriculum, whatever things I cover, we cover from very scratch, keeping everyone in mind. Okay, so if you have no background of coding, if you have no background of DevOps, don't worry. All the topics will be covered from scratch. Like if I'm talking about Git, I'll talk from very basic, like what is repository management, what is VSC, and things like that. It might bore someone who has some experience into DevOps, but don't worry, guys. If you are into DevOps, I do have advanced topics as well. We start from the beginning, but we go to till very advanced. So don't worry, Vipul. It's added advantage that you already have security understanding. You can easily understand the security part of it. Now, if you add DevOps, you can easily call yourself a DevSecOps engineer.
And you indicated like we have SAST, right? But there are other flavors like dynamic and interactive as well, IAST and D. So do we have some coverage on those aspects as well?
No, the target audience over here is we are following DevOps engineer. So when you go into a DevOps role, mostly you'll be working with static analysis. Okay, the dynamic part is not much taken care by DevOps guys. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
all this integration will be done into your pipeline. So the SAST part is taken more. But let's see, let's go with the course and see if there's a demand. I can add the dynamic part of it. But for
So
now,
that
it
you
is
said, like you just said, like it's not taken by DevOps. So is it like totally security centered stuff?
not security, but those integration we don't do much into your CI pipelines. So when we talk, so this SAST and everything is a part of your CI. When you do a application build, it becomes part of your build pipeline itself. Okay, so DAST we don't do much with the integration pipeline. That is more once your application is built and deployed. At that time, we follow the DAST part, which is not part of your CI/CD more. But let's see how it goes. If there is a requirement, we can even add a DAST part of it to the course. So it's the course. Frankly speaking, this course was only 30 hours long when we started. Now this is 65 hours. This is all the feedbacks which I received from my students, and we keep on increasing things. Okay, Krishna. Yeah, Vipul, are you done?
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you.
Which command you said on Git? Uh, Git command. I think I've spoken about Git cherry picking. Let me go through the chat. Okay, hi Rahul, Rohit. Okay, I have a lot of digital marketing, but yes, Jaipal, you can do that. So in order to showcase yourself into Azure DevOps, as I said earlier, you need to practice that much. Okay, if you have no understanding of DevOps, you need to give your 2 months of time to me. Everything, understand whatever projects we are covering, whatever things I'm covering, practice it twice, and then go for the interview. Whatever flow we follow of building and releasing an application, the same flow you need to talk about. You don't need to add anything extra from your side. Just experience the flow and just talk about your experience in an interview. Why I'm saying, because you don't have live experience of working into any company. Now when you practice things by yourself again and again, that will fit in your mind and that flow will fit in your mind, and when you give interview, you can explain more precisely. So that is the reason I always say, whatever I'm teaching, whatever projects we are covering, try to do it at least twice by yourself in order to understand it thoroughly. Okay, any cloud migration? No, not as such. We don't have any migration topics in it in this course. This is more focused on DevOps, okay, and DevSecOps. Are you including latest project, which is a trend now? Yes, Krishna. We are focusing on YAML-based pipelines. We are focusing on microservice applications. We are deploying first. I'll be deploying things manually onto Kubernetes to give you a glimpse how a microservice application looks like in real time. Then the same will be integrated with CI/CD, how things gets automated. Because let me tell you, automating a microservice application is a 10-minute task wherein easily you can build and release a microservice application, considering if you have all the manifest files in place. Okay, doing the same thing manually, creating an image, writing a Docker file, pushing that image into a container registry, then pulling it from there, then putting into a Kubernetes pod. Manually, when you do it, you'll have a very better understanding how this complete flow looks like. Then when we do things manually, at the same time we'll do it automatically using CI/CD pipeline to give you an understanding, a parallel understanding how in real time if things will start failing, this will help you with troubleshooting and debugging also. So in real time when you're setting up something, and if it starts failing, if you have experience of handling things manually, you can easily fix the automated part of it. Okay, so I try my best because I come from the same background. I know what are the difficulties my junior engineers face, what issues they come up with. So I try to give you that experience in real time. Okay, okay, let me go to the command. Okay, Balaji, I am from change and release team and I have minimal coding experience. Would you be able to take up this? Yes, Balaji. As Vipul has the same question, we do things from very scratch. Okay, and if whatever coding part, like suppose I'm covering a declarative language, so I'll be covering what is declarative first. I'll be covering the basic syntax we'll be using to write that script, and then we go and start writing the build and release pipeline. So yeah, that is what my approach is. Is there any project discussion on ADO and Azure? Yes, we do have, wherein I'm including AKS and ACR, and along with it, we are also integrating Key Vault for keeping the things sensitive information like password. And I do have Istio service mesh. Yes, we do have that, people. Okay, Chetan, 10 plus years experience and 7 years as infra administrator, and but not DevOps. Perfect, Chetan. You're the right candidate for this course. You already have Azure infra administrator and understanding, so you already understand the cloud part of it. Okay, so DevOps shouldn't be a big deal for you. Okay, after this course, I have done architect project AKS for years. How many years? See, it's up to you how confident you are. You have 10 years of experience. I'll say put 5 years of experience into Azure DevOps. Now, that will this question I'll ask you after 2 months down the line, that how much confident you are right now, that can you put 5 years of DevOps experience into your resume. If you have practiced for this 2 months and have you and have done everything whatever we are covering in this course, then easily you can put 5 years of experience. Okay, and guys, if that was for Chetan, if anyone is no who doesn't have a Azure or cloud background, don't worry guys, whatever services I'll cover from scratch. Okay, okay, are we done guys? Only this much of questions? Okay, Lakshmi has, give me one, give me 1 minute. Okay, I have zero experience in coding. Will I be able to serve? Yeah, it's the same question, Lakshmi
Yeah.
Narayan. We are just, so see, I'm not saying that we'll not have coding. Okay, if I say that, it's a very wrong information, which I don't want to give. We do have coding. We have Terraform, which where you need to write HashiCorp language. We have Ansible, where you need to write playbooks, which is written in YAML. We have cell scripting. We have Kubernetes. Even that manifest file will be written in YAML. Most importantly, the CI/CD pipeline, Azure DevOps, it is also written in YAML. Okay, so we do have coding. Okay, I'm not denying on that fact we don't have coding, but if you don't have any experience into coding, we do things from scratch. Okay, whatever topics it is, I'll go from bottom, then we slowly and steadily build up and we go to the top. Okay, so if anyone has understanding of those topics, it will be a recap for you guys. Please understand we have people from different backgrounds, so we need to cover each and every one of them. So yeah, keeping that in mind, we do things from scratch. Okay.
Okay. One
uh
more question.
yeah, Lakshmi, tell
So,
me.
so how about the certification part? Will you be able to provide that support in getting the certifications completed? Or
AZ400, very good question, Lakshmi. AZ400 is a certification which you can try after this course. Now, the problem, I'll tell you the problem. Lakshmi, if you can mute yourself, I'm getting very in
yeah,
background
sorry.
noise.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you. So, Lakshmi, very good question. AZ400 is the certification which you can target. Okay. AZ400 is a quite advanced Microsoft certification. Okay. This is not completely on MCQs. MCQs as well as the project understanding, everything comes together when you give your AZ400 examination. So along with this course, I'll be giving you links to Microsoft white papers and Microsoft dummy examinations if anyone who's want to opt for AZ400. After the course, just go through those white paper once because there are many jargons which you need to remember, okay, while giving certification exam. And after the white paper, you're done with the white paper, the documentation, go with the dummy exam. I'll share the links for the dummy exam. And once you start scoring 85% and above, it's a dummy exam of 100 marks. Once you start scoring 85% and above in consecutively exams, blindly go and give AZ400. You'll successfully pass that exam. But there is a catch. AZ400 has a prerequisite of AZ104 and 204. 104 is Azure administrative exam, which is very simple and straightforward. So 104 is completely based on cloud. You need to have better understanding of VMs and things like that. So whenever you get time, you can easily take some you watch the YouTube videos of AZ104 and you can give that exam. 400 is quite as I said, it's a quite advanced. It will give you a DevOps engineer certification. So yes, I'll be sharing those guidance also. Whoever is interested in AZ400, I'll suggest like after this course, go and give AZ400. It's a good addition to your resume. Okay. And that doesn't mean if you are not done AZ104, 204, you cannot give 400. You can direct if you are interested, you can go and give AZ400 directly also. The only thing is you will not get the certificate logo from Microsoft. You'll get everything in email and everything that you have passed AZ400, but that certificate logo, if you're interested in, for that you need to give AZ104. Okay. Yeah, let me go
Okay,
through.
thanks.
No problem. Okay, how do recorded session will be accessible lifetime? No, it's Arpit. It is for 1 year, not for lifetime, because this course keeps on updating. If there is no point of giving you for the lifetime because it will not be valid. Any on-premises deployment see manual deployment, whatever I'll be doing, it's more like on-premises because I'll be launching VMs on cloud. Okay, Linux VMs on cloud, and I'll be logging to those VMs and I'll be doing those manual deployments like all Maven and everything. I'll do it manually first, then only I'll be automating, because there's no point if I show you a CI/CD pipeline right now and if I automate a microservice application right now, there's no point till the time you don't understand what's happening in the back end. So yeah, I'll do it on. So if you want to consider that's on-prem, yes, we do on-prem manual deployment too. Okay, how close Azure DevOps is to AWS DevOps EKS or AKS? These are okay. Azure DevOps and AWS DevOps, they are two different vendors. Understand this. They are two different vendors. Things will not change. If you are building a Java application, the build tool, either you'll be using Maven and Gradle, you'll be using the build tool to build your Java application. You'll be using JUnit to run your unit test cases. You'll be using code coverage tools such as Jacoco to run your code coverage. You'll be using SonarQube, and at the end you'll be creating an artifact. It will be either a jar, war, or ER files. Do you think this flow will change whether you go to AWS, whether you go to Azure, whether you go to Jenkins? The flow will remain as it is. What will change? The things will change, such as the way the tool works. AWS will have a different approach. You might see a different icons there, but irrespective of what tools you go, this underlying flow will not change. So it's a very good question. Basically, if you learn Azure DevOps and if you're going for can you go for a Jenkins interview? The answer is no. Can you go for a Jenkins project? You will say no, I cannot, I don't know. That you know it, guys. The only thing is you don't know the GUI, how the Jenkins looks like. Where do I click to create a project? You know the underlying concept, how the application gets built, how the application will be deployed. If you're giving an interview, if they ask questions on Jenkins, say, I know how this application gets built, how this application gets tested, how this application gets deployed. The only thing is I have not seen the Jenkins GUI yet. I know how to do this on Azure DevOps. I can do it now for you. If you can give that confidence, you can go back and just see Jenkins YouTube video how to work with Jenkins, and you're able to run your same CI/CD thing on Jenkins also. So that is how things. See, there are many tools in DevOps. Each day there is a new tool which is getting launched. It is not possible for a human being to go and learn all the tools. But if you keep your basic clear, then there's no stopping for you. Don't call yourself after this code, don't call yourself Azure DevOps engineer. You will restrict your portfolio. After this course, call yourself a DevOps engineer, not Azure DevOps engineer. Just keep that in mind, okay? Okay. Uh, is Azure different jobs, all pipeline jobs cover? Everything is Azure DevOps, 101% things will be covered. I do even cover integration of Azure DevOps with Azure Active Directories. So I go to that level. Okay, don't worry. Azure DevOps, don't worry, everything will be covered. Okay. Is there any high level 3-tier microservice project included in the course similar to those used in Netflix on YouTube? Charan, we do have a 2-tier project in this wherein there is a API call happening, and we are monitoring those API requests, and I'm integrating Istio service mesh with it. So it's more like a three layer project what we have. Okay, so that is what we are doing in this course. Anything, if you want to take Netflix or YouTube use case that is available online, we can try that also. Okay, but yeah, to answer your question, we do have uh, 2-tier application wherein we are doing network monitoring and many things in that application once that application gets deployed. Is GitHub Action also covered? No, Rahul, we don't cover GitHub Action. Again, the same question whether AWS DevOps or Jenkins. GitHub Action has just come up. It has started integrating. It has started doing things of integration. It has come up with some board activity also. So GitHub is not that big. But yeah, answering to your question, GitHub we are not covering. But again, is the same story. If you know one tool, GitHub shouldn't be a big deal for you. Please give little more brief on AD integration with ADO, and is it RBAC lines? Okay. So Azure DevOps, how do we manage users in Azure DevOps? How the user get licensed and everything. So it's basically we cover how do we add users. So for that perspective, we integrate Azure DevOps with Azure Active Directory. So that there is a session where I integrate and show you how the integration works. And post that, when you add a user into Active Directory, that user will start reflecting into Azure DevOps, and what are the different license you can allocate, what are the different roles you can give. So that is part of Azure DevOps what we cover. Okay. Is it with RBAC? Yes, not exactly RBAC, because you don't control what you do on Azure DevOps from Azure Active Directory. It is more for a user management. Make sense, Vipul? Okay, with this 4-5 project, practicing will suffice to 4-5 years. Yes, you can definitely do that, Chetan, because it's not a similar projects which I do. One, I'll be doing a microservice applications. Second, I'll be doing a database automation. Third, I'll be doing a what we say, an MVC.NET application, which is a more like at the legacy side. Okay, so we are covering quite a range of different projects to give you understanding of better understanding how overall all these different domain application can be managed using DevOps. That is what we try to do. Okay, are you covering some Azure service like VM, storage, network, DB service, etc.? Not in depth, Krishna, because these are Azure fundamentals. Okay, we do cover things like Azure Kubernetes, Azure Container Registry, Azure Key Vault. I do create VMs. So while creating, I'll definitely talk about all the things what we have into VM. I do create storage account. Okay, and I do create SQL server. So there, for SQL database automation, I do create SQL servers, SQL databases also. But at the ground level, if you say basic of cloud, so I can talk about that. Like if you have a questions, I can definitely talk about that. But the focus area is not cloud. The focus area is DevOps over here. That doesn't mean if you're not familiar with cloud, you will be lay back. No, whatever services I cover, I'll talk about that services first. Then I go and show you how that services gets created. Then we start working on that services. That is what my practice is. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Anything we are missing in missing on projecting us on DevSecOps? What this question is? Anything we are missing on projecting us as DevSecOps engineering? How we can cover FES? Vipul, I'm not getting this question.
Yeah, let you just indicate like you can project yourself as a DevOps engineer, but I was thinking like if we are missing anything to project us as a DevSecOps engineers, like in
Okay.
this course. Yeah.
So no, that you will not get any such portfolios. Mostly, the
Mhm.
portfolios will sound like DevSecOps, DevOps engineer, SREs. So yeah, so they will ask you whether you have experience of handling the security part of the pipelines or not. That is how the portfolios are. But yeah, you can portray yourself as a DevSecOps engineer. If there's a portfolio specific like DevSecOps, you can definitely opt for that too.
And this security component is always there with every DevOps project, correct? So these tools will always be one or more less always included in
Yes,
the
yes.
whole
Nowadays
project
it is.
deployment, correct? Yeah.
Yes, nowadays it is there. There's no stopping. You will have such security topics.
Okay. As I'm coming from security, so I'm more inclined on that. Although DevOps is core, but that shield which you draw around that the circle, which is also from the
Yes,
security center. So
that
I'm
that
looking to
is
scale more onto it. Yeah.
very good.
Okay.
Uh, okay, Jaipal, my experience with designing designation with marketing. Like how can I show you my marketing experience at DevOps? They are not exam with designations. Okay, so over here you need to play smart, Jaipal. So senior engineer, like okay, so 2 points is marketing. If you talk marketing into IT, into technical, then the resume gets rejected. Frankly, I'm being very frank. Okay, so over here you have to be after the course you have to be very smart. You have to show this experience into DevOps. So senior engineer into DevOps, you can talk about that because if you add this marketing word, okay, so that marketing doesn't go well with HR. Okay, so it's better to show this 2.6 years of experience into DevOps. Okay, then only recruiters will start and you will start your resumes will start getting picked up. Okay, that is how you need to play smart over here because you're looking for your core role into DevOps. Once the course is completed, we called as DevOps Tech Engineer, Cloud Associate, or Cloud Architect, or what exactly? Okay, you can call yourself as a DevOps engineer, Azure DevOps engineer, DevSecOps engineer, SRE site reliability engineer, cloud engineer, and cloud associate and architect. Those are very core from the cloud perspective. Okay, now after doing DevOps, I don't want you to go and be a cloud engineer. Okay, look for something which has a DevOps thing in it, whether it has microservice, whether you are responsible for setting up pipelines, and you're responsible for setting up your repositories, setting up branching and merging strategies, and things like that. Okay, if you're going for a cloud associate role, it is more like infrastructure management, wherein you are creating VM, managing storage. That has limited scope. In near future, it will have very limited scope. Now you have to not think about just for 1 2 year. You have to think what next after 5 years. Okay, from that perspective, look for something into the core DevOps role. After this course, focus on core DevOps role. Okay, I have little experience on AWS. After taking Azure course, any confusion happened? Okay, so just for your understanding, I'm AWS professional myself. Now I've started like from last 6 I started teaching on Azure. So I have started my career into AWS DevOps. Now because the demand is Azure right now, as we all know, from last 6 years I'm into Azure. So there's no confusion for me at least. Okay, so there's no confusion. Don't worry about that. In fact, you'll start understanding things very clearly, like what is EC2 instance in AWS. You got VMware over here. What is VNet over here? Then you will start comparing service to service. Okay, so let me tell you, it's quite the similar. It's just the GUI. Okay, the GUI which changes. Azure has a different way of doing things. AWS has a different way of doing things. But eventually down the line, what they're doing, they are helping you to create a virtual machine on a cloud. Okay, it's the same thing. So there's no confusion. In fact, you will start comparing things, and when you start giving interviews, you can give example from both the sides. That is an added advantage for you. How much can which have more weightage, cloud or DevOps? Okay, there's no distribution about weightage, Krishna. It's a completely wrong track. At this point of time, you need to have experience and learning of cloud as well as DevOps. DevOps and cloud goes hand in hand nowadays. It's not that you're just know DevOps, you don't know cloud. It will not work. You need to have understanding and learning of both the domains. It goes hand in hand. Whatever you do in DevOps, eventually it goes in cloud. Okay, because whichever company, new company, startup, and old MNCs you go, they have hybrid environment, hybrid infrastructure, wherein they have on-prem as well as cloud. So wherever you go now, they have hybrid. Those days are gone that they're only dependent on on-prem servers. Okay, even though it's a big company, they will have something on cloud. So yeah, it goes hand in hand. Okay, can I unmute and ask? Yeah, yeah, why not, Krishna? There's no guys, feel free. Yeah,
Yeah,
tell
hi
me,
Rohit.
Krishna.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So currently I'm working as a release engineer.
Hmm.
So I have gone through a couple of videos in the YouTube. So which I personally I mean I don't know like all the videos are there or some part of missing or not. Like I haven't seen any conditions using in the AML pipelines and using any shell script conditions where inline scripts we are using in the AML. Are we doing that or like how exactly like we are going ahead with that?
So did you see my YouTube videos?
Yep. After that only I have been enrolled to this course.
Okay. Okay, I don't know. We do have inline scripts and everything what we cover in YAML in the course. But yeah, I don't know if it's uploaded on YouTube or not. I am not sure about that. Okay,
It's
because
not that. Yeah.
yeah, it might not be there. But don't worry about
Mm,
the YAML and everything, the YAML part. So my focus area is
mhm,
YAML,
mhm,
because that is
mhm,
the next good part which is coming in now in Azure.
mhm,
So we do cover
mhm,
classic CI/CD. I do cover
mhm,
classic
mhm,
CI/CD, but frankly speaking, the focus area is YAML based pipelines,
mhm,
because that
mhm.
is where the world is going. So the focus,
Yep.
all the projects will be done mostly on YAML. We'll focus on
Mhm,
YAML
mhm.
based pipelines more.
Okay.
Just to answer your
So
question.
yeah, one last question if you don't mind. Yeah.
Mhm. Tell me.
Uh, yeah. So basically, like how the things like pipelines will be going on, like it will be going on multi stages, or like we'll be adding different types of stages and into deployment groups. Then we will be executing the project, or in any single stage or something like that.
No, see, initially we'll start with single stage only, because if I start with multi-stage at the beginning, it will be
Mhm,
too
mhm,
much for others. So
mhm,
initially we'll start with single stage, very basic CI/CD pipeline. We'll start with the first
mhm,
project is
mhm,
the second
mhm.
project which I do. It's quite huge. In that
Okay.
project, we'll be focusing on YAML based pipelines. We'll start with
Mhm,
building that pipeline, integrating Maven, creating
mhm.
artifacts.
Okay.
Then slowly and
Okay.
steadily, we'll start adding testing security topics like unit test cases. We'll be adding code coverage. Then we'll add SonarQube to it, the same pipeline. Then we'll add
Mhm,
vulnerability scanning and everything. This way, that YAML pipeline will be huge. Okay. Then we'll
okay.
do multi-stage deployment. We'll have multiple environments created there. For to name, we'll have
Mhm,
three environments created: dev, QA, production. How the code moves from dev environment to QA environment, then eventually from QA to prod, that is something we'll understand. Then we'll have the
mhm.
pre-condition, post-condition, understanding
Yeah.
how the approval and things work. So eventually
Okay.
giving you quite a picture how in real time, if someone gives you this project in real time, how do you set up a CI/CD? That is what
Okay.
see why exactly am I able to do such things, because I do that on my daily basis. and I
Yeah.
know
Got
what is the requirement in the market. It's not just if I just tell you how the CI/CD work. That is of no point, frankly speaking.
Yeah, I
It will
totally
not
agree
get
with you because
you.
I have seen a lot of videos also, like comparatively, like what you speak, it is based on daily activities since I'm working on the same role. So I that's why I just joined the curriculum, and yeah, that's very good part.
Thank you, Krishna. And okay, let me see, Anirudh, do we get the platform for practice Azure Cloud or we have to take subscription? Okay, so Anirudh, we will be subscribing for a free tier account. Okay, if you don't have Azure, so we'll be Azure DevOps is free. So the free minutes what we get, that is more than sufficient into Azure DevOps. Azure Cloud, you will be creating yourself a free tier account, and as I said earlier, whatever services I'll be launching, that will fall under free tier, so you'll not get charged anything. Okay, the max you will get charged at 100 to 200 Indian rupees, even though if you subscribe for pay as you go. Okay, that is the max you'll get charged, not more than that. 100 to 200 rupees, guys, not dollars, so don't get confused. Indian rupees. Okay. Chetan, are these Dave security tools native to Azure? No, it's not native. It's not at all native. SonarQube is altogether a different tool. These are all. So on what basis did I select these security tools? This is on the basis of popularity and on the basis of the availability in the market and on the basis of what interview questions will be asked. Okay, so all these tools are completely based on uh, all these three parameters. Hence, those are part of my course so that when you get questions, you can be very familiar with those questions. It should not happen that if they're asking something you don't understand. Okay, so based on that, these security topics are picked up, and it's not Azure native. There are few security topics like Key Vault, integration of Key Vault, and things like that, which is Azure native, which is completely fine, which is from the cloud perspective. From the CI/CD perspective, these are third-party tools.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, can we use these tools in other clouds like AWS and
Yes,
GCP?
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Okay.
You can do that.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Is Jenkins also come? No. Focus is Azure DevOps Lakshmi, and repeating myself, if you know, once you're done with this course, if you know how this application gets built, you can do it by yourself on Jenkins also. I used to teach Jenkins. It's a totally different course, but let me tell you, I have worked on many CI/CD tools. I don't see anything different. Even though if something new comes in right now, next after 2 days I can start teaching. I'll start teaching you on that course, on that tool, because things will not change. What will the max? It will change the way it does things, the way it looks. That is what it will change, and you have to keep that practice in your mind. And if you start doing that, easily you can do all these tools. Is there any prerequisite or list of software to install which must be required system before starting course? Prerequisite. Okay. Um, Arpit, Azure DevOps is required, which I'll tell you how to subscribe for. Azure Cloud is required. We set up Git. We set up Visual Studio as a IDE because all my scripting will be done on Visual Studio, and that's it. That is the prerequisite, and it all falls under free tier, so you're not paying for any subscription or anything as such. Okay. Can someone with the system and background trans Charan, system administrator, you already have your system knowledge with you. It will be very much easier for you to jump into DevOps. You can use your system administrative experience into DevOps, and partially you can put system admin as 1 or 2 years of experience, and rest everything you can put it as DevOps, and you can look for DevOps role. It will be much more easier for you to switch. Azure free trial for 30 days. Okay, 30 days, as I said, even though if you go as a pay, if you put yourself as a pay as you go, see, free trial 30 days is very limited time for learning, frankly, guys. Okay, so in the free trial you will get that free credit. What you get, that gets expired. You are still eligible for free tier services for next 12 months when you go for a free trial. But the problem is once the free trial gets expired, you have to opt for pay as you go. But even though if you opt for pay as you go, you still eligible for free trial services, such as there are VMs which falls in a free trial. When you go and use it, you'll not get charged. Okay, there is a restriction of 60 minutes. Like after 60 minutes, they will start charging you. But as I said, even though if you go for pay as you go, the services what we launch, it will not cost you more, not cost you much, in fact. Okay, I have seen VS Code ID used by all developers in YouTube video. It is something common in real time. Uh, Not it's see, IDE tool is up to the developers what they are comfortable with. Now, if you ask me, when I write Python scripting, I use PyCharm. I'm not comfortable with VS Code. When I'm teaching .NET, I use Visual Studio, okay, which I am comfortable with. When I'm writing any sort of Terraform, then I use VS Code. Why? Because it got a very good plugin of Terraform. Okay, so this IDE tool will be completely dependent on the way the developers write his code, the way he is comfortable with. So there's no any specific tool. Okay, someone they use Atom to write this YAML scripts. So it's up to the developer what they are comfortable with, which IDE tool they use. So keeping that in mind, but VS Code IDE is widely used, okay, among the DevOps network. And it's not that I'm promoting VS Code, guys. VS Code has got multiple plugins for like as I said, Terraform. It got plugin for Azure DevOps CI/CD. It got plugin for your Kubernetes. It got plugin for your Ansible. So keeping that in mind, I prefer using VS Code, and I teach on VS Code to you guys so that you guys can get comfortable with VS Code with all the plugins and with all the supports, auto correction, auto detection, all those support what VS Code has it. But that doesn't mean you cannot use any other IDE tool. You can, if you're comfortable using PyCharm, you're comfortable using Atom, you're comfortable using uh, any other IDE, you can use it. In this course, I prefer using VS Code. Okay, I can use or other also. I can use Notepad plus plus also, guys. Okay, you should know what you're doing, how you're doing, and if you're comfortable doing that, you can use any IDE tool, whichever you like. Okay, so I think that's it. Enough of questions, guys. You can reach out to Valaxy administrator if there's any more questions, any doubt how to join this course. They are uh, putting the things in the chat, and they're putting the numbers also. You can reach out to them. I think that's it. We do have 5 minutes, I think. Uh, okay, 8:15, 8:10.
Rohit, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
Any
Krishna.
Azure API and Data Factory will be covered?
Data factory and all, it's altogether a different domain, Krishna. Okay, data
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
factory and data lake, those are all
Yep.
related
Mm-hmm,
to data. So it's
mm-hmm.
not relevant into DevOps. So no,
Okay.
we are not covering those topics. It's completely a
Okay.
different
Okay.
course.
Any Azure API management?
Azure API management, no, but yeah, we
Okay.
can talk about not API management, but we can talk about API CI/CD. If you want to have some API changes done using CI/CD, we can talk about
Yep.
that. But API
Okay.
management, again, it's a more for a developer, not for a DevOps engineer, to
Mm-hmm,
be very
mm-hmm,
frank.
mm-hmm. Okay.
So whatever from the DevOps perspective you will be using real time and doing real time, everything is covered.
Cool. Cool. Yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, just one question. Now, as a DevOps engineer, do we have anything to do with the API management? Like if there is a app API app, it needs to be deployed in Azure cloud. Any role of DevOps engineer?
No, management part you'll not be doing, but more importantly, you might set up some automation behind the scene if the developer wants to automatically make some API changes. So no, management you'll not be doing. Management will be done by the developers. But yeah, if they want to set up some CI/CD behind the scene for the automation, they might come to you. Yes, for
So
that
again,
perspective.
with the help of CI/CD pipelines.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
And we talked about this one, right? The ADF, the data engineering part. So
Hmm.
I mean, do they have two different pipelines? Like they have their own pipeline, right? Data
ADF,
engineering,
yeah, ADF has altogether has its different pipeline setup where you can set up ADF related pipelines.
not on Azure DevOps. So they
Not on,
have their own pipelines.
yes, Azure, or not on Azure DevOps, but you can integrate Azure DevOps with ADF pipelines also. That integrate. So Azure DevOps is quite flexible. Okay, you can also integrate Azure DevOps with Jenkins. Like if you want to build things on Jenkins and do deployment on Azure DevOps, even that is possible. Same thing, you can integrate with GitHub Action also. You can also do deployment on AWS cloud, like using Azure DevOps. If you want to target on AWS, even that is possible in Azure DevOps. So Azure, the whole reason why Azure DevOps is so much in demand is because of this flexibility that you can do many things with Azure DevOps. If some of the tools, like you want to integrate uh, like Slack to send notification or things like that, even that is possible in Azure DevOps. And we do have a project wherein we are integrating Slack with Azure DevOps in this course.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so I'll take a leave from here. Thank you very much, and we'll start Tuesday. Okay. Are we learning Docker and Kubernetes in depth? We are covering everything which will help you start working on Kubernetes. Now, when we say in depth, are you talking about Kubernetes administrator role? Now, if you're targeting yourself as a Kubernetes administrator role, then this is not a course for you. We are not just learning Kubernetes. Along with Kubernetes, we got 12 more tools which we are covering in this course. If you just learn Kubernetes, it will take 3 months. Okay, if you want to get a Kubernetes certified as a Kubernetes administrator certified, okay, but if you're targeting yourself as a Kubernetes administrator, then you can definitely learn that course. If you're targeting yourself from a DevOps engineer perspective, that you must know how an application gets deployed onto Kubernetes, how do you debug a Kubernetes, how you make volume persistent in Kubernetes, how do you manage services in Kubernetes, what is taint tolerance and node affinity in Kubernetes, and what are the different services in Kubernetes, how do we set up Kubernetes cluster. All those topics are covered in this course. Okay, so two different things. Arun, what exactly you're looking for, then you can decide. From the DevOps perspective, whatever is needed on Kubernetes, what you will be doing, 95% of things will be covered over here in this course from the real time. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Let's meet up on Monday and continue with and start with history of DevOps. We'll talk about some SDLC methodology such as Agile, Scrum, Waterfall, Kanban, and then we move on to DevOps. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.